This is such a cool idea. So like if you kind of were like starting off on your health journey, you could dedicate like one day of the week to cutting down on one of these 7 deadly S's. Hello everyone, welcome back or to my channel. Never ever said that before on my channel. I'm currently having this like healthy liver tea, and it doesn't taste very nice, but there's something kind of nice about tasting something not nice. Does that make sense? But this video is all about the 7 deadly S's of health. So again, another planned video, my good vibes journal. I'm doing a lot more of these planned videos, so maybe this means my videos will be better, who knows. But let me get started. Put the pen down. So, I'm just going to say what they are and then go into some more detail, and yeah. First of all, I'm proud of you for clicking on the video, because you obviously are interested in learning about health or interested in helping your health or someone who knows health, and that's an amazing thing to do and a great step. So well done for getting this far in, and now let's get on to the actual info. So the 7 deadly S's of health are smoking, sedentary, sugar, salt, starch, spirits, and stress. Alright? So stress, spirits, starch, salt, sugar, sedentary, smoking. First up, let's talk about any elephants in the room. If you are a smoker or you know a smoker, you know smoking's bad, but let me tell you why. Obviously, it's bad for your lungs because you're breathing in smoke, so it can lead to things like pneumonia, and as a stat, 84% of lung cancer deaths, so not even lung cancer cases, is lung cancer deaths, are caused by smoking. So 84% of people who die from lung cancer did not have to die if they made a different lifestyle choice. That's a huge number, and we all know that smoking is bad, and if you're a smoker you know that it's bad and people always tell you it's bad. So I'm going to move straight on to the next one. That's it for smoking, which is sedentary. And if you don't know what sedentary means, it is kind of like the lack of movement, but on kind of like a drastic scale. So you are someone who does not move very often. A sedentary lifestyle is very, very limited movement, and you kind of then get into the habit where things are hard, so it's hard for you to move. Sorry, I'm going to be reading a lot of this, I just don't want to get it wrong. So this can lead to things like osteoporosis, which is like a weakness in your bones and muscles, where it is really, really hard to move. Obviously, you know, if you don't use your muscles, eventually they will waste away. Even if you're a big, massive bodybuilder in your youth and you don't move your body, like that will still fade away even if you started off really strong. It's kind of one of those things that you always have to keep up. Like even if you're like in hospital for a long time and you can't, like say like if you're in a coma, you're like sedated, you obviously can't move your hands. So when you start moving your hands again, you can't even grip. You know, you can't pick things up or hold things. You can't walk, and it's like these things that we take for granted every day, like this, like moving is really important to keep your muscles useful, basically. And a big muscle in our body is our heart. So if we don't use our heart very much, like do cardiovascular exercise or anything that gets our heart pumping, then our heart becomes weaker over time. But then it's made worse because if you're sedentary, then you tend to get higher blood pressure, which means your heart needs to work harder. So not only is your heart needing to work harder, but it's also getting weaker because it's not having the movement that it needs to have, which can lead to so many horrible, horrible health issues such as a stroke, heart attack, dementia, kidney disease. High blood pressure really takes a strain out of your heart, your arteries, your kidneys and your brain, which is why it goes, if left untreated, can end up as to one of those things I just mentioned. The next 7 deadly S is sugar, which we all know. Sugar is in 4 different forms. So there's glucose, which is the sugar we have in our blood. There's fructose, don't know, which is the sugar found in fruits. So I'm sure you know that fruits are very, very rich in sugar, which is why too much of it is bad for us and especially our teeth. But it is a slightly different type of sugar. And then there's sucrose, which is table sugar, and the sugar that we kind of put in tea and we're most familiar with, the sugar from sugarcane. In America, things cannot be called sugar if it isn't the sucrose kind of sugar. That's like a legal thing. So that just kind of explains what we most commonly know to be sugar is the sucrose sugar, or what I would call like processed sugar. And the last kind of sugar is HRCS, which is made of cornstarch, which I don't really know what that is, but you might, so that could be useful information for you. Okay, so too much sugar can increases your blood sugar, which in turn creates things like heart disease, and obviously it can make you diabetic. So like type 2 diabetes is the kind of diabetes which you can like food control yourself, if it's obviously not too bad. But then if that's not controlled, it can lead to things like amputation, because like your body just can't handle having that much sugar in the body if your blood sugar is really high. So I know diabetes is different to like eating too much sugar. It's like a thing our body has, but it just kind of shows how our body is not equipped to have that much sugar. Oh, my light's turned off. Okay, well, we're going to roll with that. Yes, sugar. Next one is salt. So we're on number 4 at the minute. So salt is sodium chloride, if you didn't know what that is. And salt basically makes our body hold on to a lot of water, so it kind of like bloats us out. If you have too much salt, again, it can increase your blood pressure, which are things we've already covered, which can affect your heart, your kidneys, your brain, your heart, your kidneys, your brain, your arteries, all of that. And then obviously if those things are being badly affected, it's going to have issues, again, like stroke, dementia, even like down to like anxiety and depression as well. If your heart and your brain, and like especially your liver as well, if those things are constantly being affected, you're going to have mental issues, and that's the same with sugar and smoking and sedentary as well, especially sedentary, because things aren't moving in your body. Yeah, and I know you already know that these things are bad for you, but sometimes it's just nice to have a little reminder, and in this cute kind of like 7 sins way of remembering it's yeah. And obviously I'm just giving you like the worst case scenarios, and like what can happen if you have too much or too little of these things. So yeah, it's just nice to kind of remind yourself, actually, yeah, treat yourself every now and then and everything in moderation, but you do actually need to take care of yourselves, because we're not just guaranteed life, like we need to balance ourselves. Whatever. Number 5 is starch. And the kinds of things that starch is in, so I'm going to give you like a list of different foods which we know have like starch in it and high levels of starch, but I'm going to give you the exact percentage that starch makes up of it. So the top of our list with a whopping 72.1% starch is Rice Krispies. The second one I have is pretzels with 72.1 was Rice Krispies. Pretzels are 71.3% starch. Flour is 70% starch, give or take what kind of flour it is for a few percentages. Crackers, especially satchel crackers, are about 67.8% starch. Again, depending on what crackers they are, it kind of goes up or down. If it's whole wheat, then it tends to go down by like about 5%, and that's whole wheat anything. Oats is 57.9% starch, which I didn't know that before researching for this video. Instant noodles, which we all love, is 55% starch. Bread is 40 to 44% starch. Rice, 28% starch. Pastas, 20% starch. And potatoes, 18% starch. So actually, the things that we thought would be most starchy, like pasta and potatoes, are actually lower down the list. And other things, kind of like our instant like snacks, like Rice Krispies, pretzels, and things made out of flour, are a lot higher up in the starch. And starch kind of just bloats you out, makes you bigger, and I guess that's not the end of the world, but in terms of like clogging up, like if you have a lot of starch every single day, multiple times a day, and like not anything else to kind of balance it out, you kind of get this like cloggy feeling, and this is kind of just my description of it, is the cloggy feeling, and that kind of gives you like a bit of a mental block as well. And yeah, I just feel like things don't flow as well. It kind of it aids in IBS and all IBS issues. Yeah, there's too much of it. But I think starch isn't as bad, personally, in my opinion, starch isn't as bad as the rest of the 7 deadly S's. But it's just one to bear in mind. Number 6 is spirits, or just alcohol generally. Just spirits makes it fit nicely with the S's. So spirits or alcohol can cause cancers, so especially breast and oral cancer is the biggest one caused by alcohol. It can obviously affect your memory because alcohol dehydrates you, so a lot of the time if you can compare brain scans between someone with Alzheimer's and someone who's an alcoholic, their brains look exactly the same, because a big thing about Alzheimer's and like getting old generally, and the fact that our memory kind of goes when we're old, is because we get more dehydrated when we're old, and that's why we have more wrinkles and things like that. So dehydration ages you so much more, and can lead to things like Alzheimer's. So yeah, alcohol dehydrates you, and not dehydrates you in the sense that you just need to drink water, dehydrates your body in the sense that you have health issues. And we all know alcohol is bad, obviously bad for our liver, bad for our heart. It's kind of like smoking. I'll just move swiftly on because it's a bit of an awkward subject and it's a bit of an elephant in the room. So last but not least is stress. Now, stress overall can lower your immunity. Again, like all the other deadly S's, it can increase your blood pressure. I'm not going to repeat why having a high blood pressure is bad. And it can also, because like in terms of stress, we kind of change the way we talk, and a lot of us do teeth grinding, so it can actually be really bad for our teeth and our gums. And a part of stress as well is like oxidative stress, and like the what's it called? The like radical free cells and free radical cells, where like ours are, what is it, when the cells don't duplicate properly and they duplicate too much. So the kind of very extreme version of duplicating cells too much is cancer, and that's how cancers come about. I'm not saying you're going to get cancer if you are stressed. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just trying to convey that, yeah, things happen on a little scale sometimes, but sometimes it can happen on a bigger scale, and we want to kind of nip things in the bud so they don't escalate to that. And stress leads to premature aging, which obviously we can see on our faces. We see people who are very stressful have big under eye circles, they have wrinkles, they have kind of like a horrible leathery texture to the skin, but physically it can make your muscles weaker, and again, our heart is a muscle, and it can, poor eyesight. It can lead to like bad eyes, and they are just examples of the fact that aging on the outside, like, yeah, we might be able to get over that, but also if we're aging on the outside, we're obviously aging on the inside, and that's kind of what we want to be aware of. If we're prematurely aging, then that's something that's not right in our bodies, and stress can cause that. So just trying to reel that in and creating more calming techniques, and that's why being calm is such like a big thing nowadays, because we're not kind of used, like our bodies and minds aren't used to this kind of world and this kind of living yet, and we really need to try and help ourselves, because our health does suffer, because guarantee you watching this right now are stressed, or you have felt stress in your life. Stress can have good benefits, of course, like it creates like different hormones within our body, and I've said this before, stress in kind of little doses can be good for your heart, because it does something to the vessels around your heart to make them more equipped to deal with stress in the future. So if you have like a heart issue or a heart kind of event, then you kind of have these vessels around your heart to protect it. But yeah, I could keep going off on tangents and I don't want to say too much and whatever. But yeah, they are the 7 deadly unhealthy S's of health. Again, those are things we've all done. Like, I feel like I kind of give the impression in my videos that I'm this perfect, healthy person. I'm not. Smoking, I've smoked multiple times in my life, especially in my youth when my body was still growing. So yeah, I might not smoke now, but I was smoking during the times my body was growing. Sugar is my absolute weakness. My legs itch so bad and I'm too scared to get a blood test to see if I have diabetes, but I think I'm kind of on that way, so I definitely need to turn my sugar down. Starch, I have starch because I effing love carbs. Recently found out I can't eat wheat, so that's, I mean, I'm still eating wheat because I love carbs, but yeah. Spirits, I mean, I don't drink. As I became of the legal age of drinking, I stopped drinking, but I was probably binge drinking quite regularly since I was about 13, again, when my body was still growing, so that's not that good. And then stress, I'm a bit of a stress head. I stress about everything. Obviously, you know, I'm trying to be this calm girl, but I stress a lot. But I try not to because advice, whatever. But yeah, so I'm not perfect. Like, you don't have to be the super healthy person. We just have to be aware of these things, you know. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. My light went halfway through. My camera actually stopped working when I tried to film this the first time, so this is on my phone as well. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm going to finish off this disgusting liver tea, which is now going to be cold and even more disgusting, but actually, it's a bit better now that it's cold. It kind of tastes like an exotic kind of cocktail drink. Okay, whatever, I'm really boring you. Bye, thank you for watching.